How quickly did you get to 500K in GCI?
Look, I was pretty young, so when I became a solo agent, a lot of the established agents in Tenerife were older. They'd been in it for, sort of 15, 20 years experience. And I think when you're young, when you're sitting down with people, you don't necessarily get taken seriously very quickly. So one of the main things that I focused on as a young agent was knowledge.
If you're a sales associate or you're getting into real estate, go and join a high-performing office with a lot of activity and join a high-performing agent that is going to be taking you to listing presentations, getting you to do all the different facets of the job so that you can learn. Quality means more than quantity, especially in real estate. Make sure... Agents, welcome to the Get Keen podcast, your number one destination for learning how to get the most out of your real estate career. I'm Dan Lee, founder of Plum Property, one of Queensland's largest independent real estate offices, and Plum Partners, where we've helped dozens of agents create, run and grow their very own agencies. On Get Keen, I chat to high-performing agents, principals, and agency owners, so you have the tools, strategies, and insights to grow your business and live the best life for yourself and your family. Now let's get keen. You're keen, aren't you? I know why you're here, because you want to be the best at real estate. You want to make more out of your career. And that's why you're listening, because I bring the best guests in real estate onto the Get Keen show to help you with tools, strategies, ways in which you can get further ahead in your career in real estate. All right, and the man that I got sitting across from me today, no exception to the rule, 10 years experience in real estate. He worked at Ray White New Farm in Brisbane, one of the very high-performing office. Matty Lank, I've done a podcast with him, episode 6, I believe. Really good interview if you want to watch that one as well. But Ben Percival is the guy sitting across from me. He sells 50 to 60 properties a year in Tenerife in a highly condensed apartment area with a lot of owner-occupiers. It's quite an upper market for apartments. And an average sale price of about 1.35 million there now, Ben?
Yeah, for sure. About 1.35.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your time, mate. I know you're a busy guy.
Thank you for inviting me on. Oh, yeah, no, I mean, we're all busy, but I'm excited to be here. So
I'm excited for you to share how you went from bottom of the barrel, being a sales associate. It's a privileged position, but it is the beginning, and you started as a sales associate at Ray White New Farm. You were there for 9 years, weren't you?
Yep. Just over 9 years. So look, the start into the industry was an interesting one. I actually had a very good friend of mine that I met at university who went into real estate. He was a BDM and he was doing really well. And I was a bit lost. I was working at the airport, still studying, didn't really know what I wanted to do. And he kind of tapped me on the shoulder and said, maybe you should give this a shot. I was totally green, knew nothing about what I was doing. And I reached out to a guy called Simon Petrie at the time. And basically he offered me, I could do work experience. So I worked for him for free for 2 months whilst I got my real estate license and started to figure out whether or not I liked it. And I loved it. So after that 2-month period, started working with Simon. Very good agent, very good at teaching. And it was so much fun going into a business like Ray White New Farm where there's so much activity, high-performing office, really good place to learn for somebody who's green. I was only a sales associate for about a year because the guy that I was working for after that decided to go and take a job with a development company that we were doing a bit of business with. And so I was kind of thrust into being my own agent probably sooner than you'd expect. But, in retrospect, it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me.
Okay, nice. And that's a really important point that you made. If you're a sales associate or you're getting into real estate, go and join a high-performing office with a lot of activity and join a high-performing agent that is going to be taking you to listing presentations, getting you to do all the different facets of the job so that you can learn. So you had to obviously learn really fast how to become an agent.
Super quick. I think they say it at Ray White, but I think it's any high-performing office where people are doing well. The treadmill runs fast, so you've got to learn really quick. And if you don't, you get dropped off pretty quick. Sales is a high turnover business. If you don't like it and you're not working hard and you're not with the right people, you'll be burnt out pretty quick.
Yeah, for sure. So, and around 12 months ago, you launched your own real estate business as well, which is a massive change. Percival Properties.
Percival Property
Congrats,
Group launched
mate.
that. Thank you. It's been a wild journey. Best thing I've ever done. So having a lot of fun. We're set right in the middle of Tenerife.
Nice work. I'll ask you some more questions about that, but you're certainly keeping up the momentum since you left.
Yep.
But I want you to take us back to those early days again. So you got thrown out there pretty pretty quickly to be a fully fledged agent, but you still at least had some associate training for 6 months to a year.
Yep.
How quickly did you get to 500K in GCI?
So, look, I had a really clear idea from the start of where I wanted to focus on and what I wanted to sell, which I think is really beneficial. But my first year out was it was a half year. So I wrote a smidge over 100. Second year, I wrote just over 200. Third year, just over 300. And then fourth year, we wrote 650. And it's that sort of snowball that we talk about. It takes so much energy and effort to get to that level. Once we were there, we sort of took off. But about 3.5 years to get to that sort of 500-ish level.
Yeah. And it actually takes the same amount of effort to get to the 100 as it does to then the 350, then the 600. It's just like time in the game. The bigger your profile, the bigger your team, the more of the previous work you've done that's coming to pay you back in the future. That's how it works, right?
Oh,
and that's the difficult thing about that beginning stage is you're working so hard and you feel like you're working harder than the people in the office that are making $1 million.
Yeah.
And you're only, sort of scraping the barrel, but that's how it works, right?
Yeah, I always talk to a lot of the young guys now, and I love the analogy of the snowball. I really think it's true. You spend so much time and energy at the start, and you miss most of what you go for.
Yeah.
And you're in there probably longer hours. You're doing more calls. You're doing more work.
Yep.
And you look at these people, and you're like, it's easy. People just call them and they list it. But as time goes on, you start to get more free kicks. More people reach out to you, and the business takes off.
Yeah.
But you use most of that energy at the start, so you make sure you're doing the right thing there.
You do. So, what did you focus on getting really good at as a younger agent to say, you're in a high-performing office, it's a tight, there's a lot of agents in your area, very competitive. What you said, you knew what you were doing. What did you have to get really good at?
Look, I was pretty young. So when I became a solo agent, a lot of the established agents in Tenerife were older. They'd been in it for, sort of 15, 20 years experience. And I think when you're young, when you're sitting down with people, you don't necessarily get taken seriously very quickly. So one of the main things that I focused on as a young agent was knowledge. I wanted to make sure that I was the expert on the product and the area that I sold. And that's something I took really, really seriously. My team makes fun of me for having so much spreadsheets and stuff for everything, but it truly helped me a lot. I think when you've got people that are more experienced and better than you, the only way that you can outperform them if you're going to sit down with somebody is blow them away by how much that you know. So we took it seriously. Like the guys that I work with, we sat down. It was study. Every day you get in, you'd start your day by looking through what's going on, what's sold, what's been listed. That's one thing. But then also, with us targeting specific buildings, it was know every single possible thing about that building. I think if you're going to sit down with a client when you're new and you're young and you go in there on the back foot, and you can truly impress them by the amount of information that you can spill, and especially if it's off cuff. Like if you've got a piece of paper in front of you, it's very different to just sitting down and having a genuine conversation with somebody and blowing them away and them saying, this person might be new and he might be young. Man, he knows a lot. Yeah. And then the next person's going to come in. And if they don't know the same amount of information as you do, they might be the best agent ever. They might even be better than you. But if they think that they don't know what they're talking about and you do, you're going to win.
That's such an important point. And I was really young when I got into real estate as well. I was baby faced. I probably didn't even shave yet. I'm serious. This is like my early 20s.
Yeah.
And man, I looked young. And I just knew that the only way that I'm going to win is outwork to get more listing presentations and opportunities. Dress really sharp, especially as a young person and you're in the game and you're not the best yet. You haven't earned the right to not wear a tie or not have your shoes polished or whatever. You got to look sharp. And I just had to know my listing presentation back to front, sell the reason why I'm going to get you more money for your home. And for you in your area where it was tightly held apartment buildings that you're targeting, part of your listing presentation was know every sale in the building, what direction it faced, what condition it was, when it sold, why you think that one achieved a price different to the other one. All of that stuff. And you can basically sit there in front of an owner and talk about it all without even instructions on what to say in front of you. Yeah, right? That's huge.
Powerful.
Very powerful.
Yeah. I think that's something that more people need to make a strong focus on.
Yeah. And even over the phone, because you talk to a lot of owners over the phone about their apartment. It's not always face to face.
Yeah.
You still can't fake it over the phone,
No.
right? You can't be looking up all this information on RP data or something about sale prices real quick. I mean, you might be able to prepare for sure over the phone, which is smart, but having that added effect face to face and being able to just bang everything out.
Yeah,
mate,
it'll set you apart.
That was your superpower.
That was it. I actually think the point that you made on dressing smart, especially at the start, is important. There's a lot of stuff that goes around, people trying to look good and fashionable and all the rest of it. But I think especially when you're new and you're young, you're not going to offend anybody by trying to present yourself well. When you're established, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But when you get started, make sure you look sharp.
Yeah, and even when you're established, you got to stay careful.
Yeah.
Because you get established, you start, your ego comes out a little bit, you win a lot, and then sometimes, you can let your guard down a little bit and start underdressing too much. And then you've got younger agents that are hungry, who are trying to beat you coming in. You might start losing if you don't always.
It's also the point that I've thought about a lot. You can dress really nicely in a suit and look good or whatever it is that you choose to wear. And on the one day that you dress down, if you do see clients, they think you're having a half day.
Yeah.
So it's always about, you think about the brand that you're putting out, that's the content that you put out, but how you look and how you dress is important. If you look consistent every day, people think that you're working hard.
I totally agree. And I see a lot of agents that dress up in their suit and nice shoes and they look good, and they do it only on the days that they've got appointments.
Yeah.
And then the other days they come in looking like they're in their pajamas.
Yeah.
And I often question them and go, why aren't you dressed for work? And they're like, oh, I've got nothing on today. Like, I'm just doing calls in the office. And I'm like, well, you're definitely not doing anything else today.
Yeah.
Like, if something came in, like a client walked into the office, or you got a listing appointment call suddenly, you're not doing it. So you're not dressed for success. And I also kind of think it gives off a vibe to your team, if you certainly have a team, like, is this the standard? So definitely something for experienced agents to look out for as you grow and start to get a little complacent with those important core concepts.
Yep.
So are there any habits that you've sort of developed over the years to just stay really consistent as an agent to, get to, because every year you've had good career progression, you know what I mean? I can see it. You got, you're basically going 1.7 on every year after year, and now you're one of the highest performing agents out that way. You got to be consistent and stuff. What are some habits that you've got to just make sure that you keep your mind in the game?
Look, I think the word that you just used there, we use it at nauseum in real estate, but it's the most important one, is consistency. You have to continue to do the same things over and over. I think when you start to build a little bit of success, especially in a certain pocket, don't become complacent. Add on to it. I think I remember being a young and hungry agent, and looking at the people that were established at the time, and you've got a target on your back. I looked at them and I said, I want to beat that person.
Yeah.
So what do I have to do differently? You've got a massive advantage when you're a market leader somewhere. And if you don't build on that and use the power that you've got to make the gap between you and the next person enormous, I think you're missing an opportunity. One of the main things that we really truly focus on in our business and try to make better every single time that we do anything is our set marketing plan. And there's something that we talk about all the time, which is, if you're going to put out a piece of content, whether that be an email, social media, letterbox drop, whatever it is, if it's not valuable, it's a waste. So it's really about quality over quantity. Spend the time, spend the money on making sure that whatever you put out, if somebody receives it, they're going to value it. I think that is something that in our industry, people just throw out so much stuff. But if it doesn't mean anything and the person receiving it doesn't actually think it's valuable, it's a waste of time.
It's not just a waste of time, but sometimes it's damaging.
Yeah.
Because you now seem like someone that they don't want to look at your stuff because it's not valuable. That's such a good point. There's so much content out there these days that quality means more than quantity, especially in real estate. Make sure that the conversations you're having, the reason for your call, the letterbox drop, the social post, whatever it is, put some thought and energy into everything. It's quality over quantity. That's been part of Ben's success.
I think it's been everything. There's one document that we've built on every single year, and we used to do it more regularly, but we only do it once a year now, which is our sort of market report. When it started out, it was a 4-page document, and it was very tailored and detailed for the people that we were sending it to. The last iteration of that document that we sent out was 100 pages, and you can't start out doing something something like that. But every single time that you do something, if you're going to do it again because it worked, make sure it's better.
Yeah.
Because people have an expectation that it's going to get better.
Yeah. And the thing is, you can build on it from last time as well. So it's not as hard to go from 0 to 100 pages. And, people often see, because Alex Jordan does something similar with a very thick coffee table style book, and people look at it and go, wow, I want that. And it's like, oh, slow down, buddy. Have you even done a 4-pager yet? Right?
Yeah.
Start on it, build on it. That wasn't Alex's first market report, right?
No, and the cost involved in something like that is
exactly.
enormous.
So it's like it's leveling up. No, I really like that. So you let's go back to apartments, because you do sell a lot of them. So what are the best strategies apart from sort of the market report you've mentioned, and you obviously have very good market knowledge. But what are some other strategies around prospecting around apartments? Like, how do you get into that? Hey guys, just quickly, if you're loving this content and you're a real estate agent that's already thinking what it might be like to have your own real estate business and brand, then check out the show notes. There'll be a link to our Plum Partners website where you can leave an inquiry and me or one of my team members will reach out. We help agents to create, run, and grow their own real estate business and brand so they can earn more and set up a better future for themselves. So get keen, get in touch. Now let's get back to the episode.
I think when it comes to apartments, you have a really unfair advantage when it comes to prospecting or marketing to those people. And what I mean by that is the information that you're going to put together to make sure that you're providing value to these people is useful for every single person that owns in that building. So the buildings that we target have just under 100 people in them. So you think about it, you can call them and you can tell them about a particular sale and move on, and it doesn't really mean that much. But if you spend, let's say, half a day on making sure that you've got an email that you can follow up with after you speak to this person that is truly valuable, you might think half a day is a waste of time. But when you're using that document or that piece of information for 100 different people, it's extremely valuable. I don't think you can do that with houses because they're all so different. When I first started really targeting, I have about 10 buildings that for us, that's our core market. For each one that we were doing, we would spend the time on putting together every single sale that had transacted for the last year or 2 years, depending on how many things were selling. We wouldn't just give them the sales. We would give them every single thing there was to be broken down: renovation, position in the building, aspect, price per square meter, when it was sold, so that they pretty much had enough information that they could value their property without speaking to us. You then follow that up with a bit of a summary on the heritage market for us, the Tenerife market and the Brisbane market, so that you look like you know what you're talking about. And if you send that to them every time, people start associating your name with the product and they actually use you as an advisor for their property rather than thinking of you like a selling agent.
Yeah, that is so interesting.
Yeah.
And the really important part of that is you're giving them so much information that they don't even need you.
No.
Right? And a lot of agents have the feeling like, oh no, don't give them too much because I want them to call me to find out the rest. Right? Like they'll send out the brochure, sold all these properties and not put the prices on it or something. And they'll letterbox drop it like, here's the last 6 we sold and no prices.
Yeah.
And they think that it's a good idea because people will have to call me to find the price and then I can book them in for an appraisal because they're probably selling.
Yeah.
But to the person receiving it, they're just going, that is so annoying. You want me to, I'm not stupid. You want me to call you and I'm not going to call you because I just want to have a chat and you're going to be like, commission breath, as we say in this, as we say. So they probably get scared and don't call you. Whereas if you give them more and make them feel comfortable and you're approachable, you'll actually get more calls.
100%. And it's also that people are changing. I don't think everybody loves speaking on the phone. We do because of real estate agents. You've got to market to people in the way that they want to be marketed to. So call them. But a lot of the time they're not going to answer. So how else can you target that person with information that's going to be valuable? There's so many people through the years that have reached out to me that I thought I had no relationship with because they never answered my phone call, or if they did, they told me they were busy. But you'd follow up with something that's valuable, whether it be on a text or an email, whatever it is that you're going to send. And then they'll randomly reach out to you. They'll respond to an email that I sent them, let's say 6 months ago. Yeah. And they'll say, hey, really appreciate all the updates. We're thinking about selling. Can we catch up?
Yeah.
And you go, whoa.
And you see the title, the subject title is like something that you sent 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And they've just gone, they've suddenly in real estate, They jump in their email and they go, what's that agent's name? Percival, Ben. They'll put it in the search thing. They'll find the first email you've sent and they'll just respond to that.
Yeah.
And then that's what this whole game is about, right?
Yeah.
Being the top of mind
Yeah.
when they come to
being
sell.
the person that people think about as an advisor, I think, rather than an agent. And it comes down to the quality of the content. Make sure it's quality.
Yeah, and look, it takes a lot of time, right? Yeah. Like you've been building relationships for 10 years. And every year, as long as you're consistent and you're building slightly more relationships and you're nurturing all the past ones that you've created, the snowball gets bigger and the more listing opportunities come on.
Yep.
And then the more listings you get, the bigger your profile gets. So then it's even more attractive for people to list with you because you've now proven yourself to the market. Yeah. It's the same game of momentum that we all play, right?
We all do the same things. I think everybody wants that secret trick that's going to change everything, but it really comes down to consistency over a long period of time and effort.
So you've gone through the different stages of, you've been on your own, you've started to build a team. Now you've got like a team of 4? 5?
4, and then myself, so 5 total.
5 in your sales pod within your office.
Yep.
Because you've got your own business now, but essentially at the moment it's you being lead agent with a lot of support network there. So you've gone through these different stages, and there's a lot of agents out there doing sort of 500 to 700 and feeling kind of stuck. Them like 20, 30 deals, different commission ranges in different markets, but they're sort of at that level where they're doing well, but they're kind of stuck. And that happened to me, and I used some strategies to get past it. But what do you think is the way forward for agents that have got some experience? They're 3 years in, they're doing pretty good, they're kind of stuck at a level to get to that next level?
I think when you start doing okay, and I think that is around the levels that we're talking about there, a lot of the time you've had a bit of a tough time getting there and the money starts coming in and you start to feel a little bit comfortable. I think the next step is quite scary, which is investing into your business. I think up until that point, you don't necessarily have the funds to do what you need to do. And it's that point that I was making earlier, you need to make the gap between you and your competition larger. And that really comes down from actually investing money into your business. There's 2 ways to do that. The first and most important is support and it's help. Team members, and especially the right team members in the right spot, are everything. One of the things that I feel most fortunate about is that the team members that I have, for the most part, are the same ones that I started with, and we've been on this journey together. But the biggest investment you'll ever make is into hiring a staff member. And it's scary because all of a sudden you go from really having no overheads to all of a sudden every week you got somebody's wage coming out. But it pretty much doubles how much work you can put out. And the right person in the right spot is going to be better than you are at certain tasks, which means that it frees up your time. Like our job is to bring in new business and sell the stock that we currently have. I think agents are bogged down with so much noise, which is administration and all the rest of it. And the stuff that we need to do is quite stressful at times. And I think if you get bogged down with everything else, you find an excuse not to do what you need to do. So invest into your business, bring on the right people. And once you've done that, you'll really start to see that your business explodes. It might have a little bit of a downward turn when you first do it, but it's inevitably going to go back up. And then once you've done that, it's investing into marketing on the other side. When you've got the right people, you got to put the money back in and make sure that you're trying to attract new people that way.
That's such a good answer. And there's so many agents that are stuck and scared of making that investment to hire someone. Yeah. Seriously, there's I think the majority of agents that do okay, and sometimes it's a symptom of they tried it once before with someone and it didn't work out. But some people don't even try that the first time. And I think the fear is like when I look back on it myself, back to that stage, I had a fear of doing that. First of all, I didn't get the advice because it wasn't as apparent back then, or the people I worked with didn't encourage me. So I sort of figured it out myself eventually. But it was that feeling of, oh yeah, I'll put someone on and they'll take off all of this stuff, but will I actually get more listings? Will I actually get more listing opportunities? I'm pretty sure I'm handling all of the listing opportunities that are coming in. I never miss one. I always try my hardest when I see a listing opportunity to go for it, and I'm generally pretty good at converting. But you don't understand how many you're missing until you free your time up. And then you force yourself to do more activities that will bring in more listing opportunities, and you don't realize how many fall through the gaps because you get caught up in busy work, right?
Well, it takes you on to that next level. You know, when you've got somebody else, you realize you think you're extremely busy, and then you hire somebody and you go, holy hell, we don't have enough to do.
We
And
are
so you
really
find-
busy though.
Oh yeah.
When we don't have the help,
Oh,
we
yeah.
are really busy, but we're busy doing 25% of the jobs that we should be doing as a lead agent and 75% of jobs that we can get someone else to do, probably better than us.
Without a doubt.
And cheaper in essence, way cheaper, because those 25% activities that you should be doing, such as calls to buyers, owners, past clients, prospecting, and marketing, that stuff is worth like $500 an hour to an agent, whereas the 75% of stuff that we end up doing at that stage is all admin and operational work that is like a $30 to $40 an hour job.
Yep.
So, yeah, we're just not really leveraging our own expertise and time if we do that.
No, and I think once you've got that help, that's really when you start to build in systems that work into your business.
Yeah.
Systems run well are the most important thing ever. You can't really do that when you're a single agent. When you've got the help, all of a sudden you have this structure of this business that works beautifully, and you can start to get back to people with really quality information fast.
The tricky part when you putting that first person on often doubles your business.
Yeah.
But putting a third or a fourth doesn't necessarily make the same change.
No.
Right? You might go from 400 to 800 with one associate and you go, that's awesome. But then when you get two, it gets a little trickier. Their roles might not be exactly the same. You're all of a sudden managing two personalities.
Yeah.
And then when you get to 4 people, it's another level of challenge because now you are really becoming a leader. You're not just a mentor to one person. And when you got one, you can kind of be scattered. Hey, I'm doing this, this, and this. Can you do this, this, and this? And it's like, yeah. And you just sort of like high-fiving and it's all good. When you get to like 4, it's like, no. We need strategy. We need structure. We need systems. We need checklists. We need everyone sort of working together, knowing what everyone else is doing. We need everyone to be getting along.
Yes.
Not everyone is a prospector now. Now we've got someone who's handling operations. That doesn't necessarily bring more money in, but it frees up more prospecting time for the lead agent and the associates, so they should be doing more of that.
Yeah.
So it does get more complicated as you grow, right?
Oh, 100%. Managing different personalities is I mean, look, it's so much fun, but it's a challenge.
Yeah, it's a challenge, but it is all part of the fun of growing a team and going next level. That's what next level's about, and it's about getting to that leadership stage, right?
Yeah.
Mate, I want to ask you a few more questions, mainly related to your business, because, it's really a lot of agents think about doing something that brave and never do, or maybe it's not for some people as well, which is totally fine. You know, being a high performing agent in an office and enjoying all the fruits of that can be just as good.
Yeah.
Right, I'm not saying it's better one way or the other, but it's a ballsy move to pack up and go and open your own business against big competition in the area. So how's it going so far?
It's without a doubt the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
I think it's exactly as you say. It's always a scary jump. I think real estate's an interesting game where at various stages we've just spoken about, bringing on a staff member. I think that's equally scary. When you go to open a business, you got a lot of doubt. And it's a lot of scary. You also get a lot of opinions from a lot of different people. For me, I was working at Ray White. I was, doing quite well there. And there were the few moments where I sat there and I thought, what am I doing? Life's pretty good at the moment. Why am I shaking things up? But really, I think that ambition greets everybody. And it greets everybody differently. But for me, I sat there and I thought, well, at some point I would like to do this. So why would I not do it now? It's been a wild ride, but it's so much fun running your own ship.
Yeah.
And,
So for you, it was like just the desire to go next level. You'd done everything that you needed to do in the business where you were at. You had a great time. You learned a lot. You made some great friendships, relationships, everything. But it was like, that's not mine.
Yeah.
It may never be. And now it's time for me to just go that next level.
Yeah, it was that, and it's it's also you get a lot of freedom to create your own identity and tone of voice and all that sort of stuff when you have your own brand. You're the guy choosing it, and we'd been targeting such a specific area, and we'd done such a good job of creating a brand within a brand, and it just felt like the right thing to do at the right time, and I had the right people around me to make that choice. So.
Sure, awesome. Do a lot of people fear? A lot of agents who make this move, they fear that when they're going to do it, they're not sure how much the brand that they work for represents their ability to win listings. So they feel like, if I launch my own brand, people are going to be unsure about working with me. And so you've got to back yourself and go, no, they will because it's me, right? But did you see any drop off in listings, or did you find it harder to list properties?
The opposite. When I actually made the decision, I sat down and I said, look, I'm going to work off my business halving. That's what I said. I said, can I make it if my business halves? And I said, I can. So I'm going to do it. We actually have listed more. We're doing the best year that we've ever done. The response from the market was incredible. I think it comes down to the work that you've put in beforehand. If you set yourself up as the market leader in that spot, then you can't fail. And I think you've got to back yourself. And I think people love people going out and giving it a go for themselves.
Yep.
And the support was unbelievable.
Mate, it's the same response every time. Yeah. This is crazy. It was the same thing that happened to me when I launched mine in 2016 out of my apartment. Scary as hell. But everyone backs you. You know, your whole client base says things like, I was wondering when you were going to do that. And it also reignites the conversation with everyone, gets you back out there. Like, you put so much into it when you want to get, because you know how important it is, that it actually just brings about a whole lot of extra business.
So much. We were blown away.
Because you're just like, you're doing lots. And it's interesting, and you're making a big buzz.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how people support you when you do it. It's about doing it at the right time too, right?
Without
you don't
a doubt.
you don't just go and do it when you've 1 year out and you've just sold your 10th house. Like, don't be stupid. You haven't actually built up a brand within a brand yet. You're more, the office means more than your personal name right now, right?
The brand is important at the start.
The brand is important at the start, and it always has some relevance.
Yeah.
But eventually, you as the agent create more relationships with individual people in an area through the work that you do, that it doesn't become about the company that you work for as much anymore. It becomes about the personal relationship and work that you've done.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
So you didn't have a drop in listings. No. That's good to know. What's been the biggest challenge for you though?
Outside of that initial period where I sort of say it's like learning a new language, starting a business is you've got to learn a whole new system and how things work. Once you get past that, the biggest challenge that I've had is quite an interesting one actually. It's knowing when to or how to grow and what you actually want. So one of the big things that we're looking at, we've got a lot of opportunities to grow the business by, maybe bringing in new people or opening up a new arm. And, we're really sitting there and going, well, what is it that we actually want? Because I don't think sometimes this exponential growth is actually what people want. And once that train starts, it's very hard to get off. We're very happy with what we're doing. We've got a small team and we're selling. And I get to spend most of my time on selling. So the challenge for me is knowing how should we grow.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, just having a clear vision about what you want from your business and not just doing it for the sake of doing it, and knowing what type of business you want to grow. Yeah. Because you can keep it small and profitable. That's totally fine, right? Yeah, but we'll see where you go. I reckon you're gonna get bored of the small. I reckon you're gonna want to go larger.
I got no doubt.
Ben, thanks so much for coming on the Get Keen podcast, mate. Valuable insights from one of Tenerife's best. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning into the Get Keen podcast. If today's episode inspired you, please show your support with a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And make sure you subscribe on your favorite platform too. Don't stop there. Join our community of forward thinkers by connecting with me on social media at Dan_Lee_Plum. I'm looking forward to exploring more strategies and insights with you on your journey to the top. Until next time, keep getting keen.